best. You think everyone around you is so cool, and you're sitting there wondering what happened to you. You gotta claim what's true. You gotta claim what's true. I'm talking to you, 'cause you know you're cool too. You know you're cool too.
That's an original song right there. You know, you're cool too. I like it. We don't know we're cool, do we? We are here to create a movement grounded in love and kindness that transforms us, our community, and the world. That's what we're here to do. All the time, every week, all the time, reminding myself, I'm here to create a movement, first in me, that transforms myself. A movement in me toward love, toward that place in me, that sacred heart in me. To create that movement, and then to create this movement together. And this movement together.
I've no need to be reminded of all my failures and my sins. I can write my own indictment of who I am and who I've been. I know that grace by definition is something I can never earn. But of all the things I may have missed, there's a lesson I believe that I have learned. There's a hand of kindness holding me. There's a hand of kindness holding me, holding on to me.
Back, reach down here underneath. And, I wonder if Angel would be willing to read her card. She put her name on here, so you want me to read your card for you?
The first question is, what do you want it to be? What is it? What do you want? Yeah, what do you want it to be in your life for others?
What do you want this place to be in your life and for others?
I want it to be carefree, like have a lot of knowledge around, and just like be kind and stuff.
Are you ad-libbing? Okay.
I feel like I'm reading my diary over here. I'm just kidding. And then, how do you want this space to feel? I want it to feel welcoming and like loving, because who doesn't want that? Okay, all right. And then it says, how will you bless this space? Obviously, because I'm here. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to be active in the church. I want to be really sociable. Really want to get to know everyone, and I don't know, add light to everyone's day.
Awesome.
That's what I want for this church and for everyone else.
That's a good start, right? Yeah, I like it. Right. I took some notes about that song because as it happens so often with the music here, I don't coordinate with the musicians at all. So whatever they bring, and that's what they bring. And whatever I bring, and that's what I bring. And it's amazing the synchronicity of that sometimes. And it was in this song as well, which I'll talk about in a little while. The spiritual life is an interesting life, isn't it? The spiritual life is an interesting life because we have many attempts to stay spiritual during the day, don't we? Like we do our prayers and meditation, maybe we're reading a book, maybe we see an inspirational meme on Facebook, maybe we go to group and we get our inspiration from there. And then it's amazing how often just one thing just makes us veer off course with that. Like the one thing that just gets us, like right away. And I was wondering, like why does that happen? Like, why does it happen? What is it that about me that I can make this commitment, that I know this thing is true, that I've been on my spiritual path for a while, that I have this awareness, that I have these tools, and then one thing happens and it just throws it all off course. I mean, simple things like simply getting in the car, or one phone call, or sitting in a doctor's office. Like one small thing just makes everything go haywire. Like, why does that happen? How can that happen when I've been studying and I've been following the spiritual path and I've been aware and I've been practicing the best I can and things take me so off course? Well, I believe this is a question that is an ancient question. It's an ancient question of struggle to understand how I can live a spiritual life, how I can be so intent on it and yet I fail. Over and over and over again, I fail. So today, I want to share a teaching from the Apostle Paul in his letter to the Romans. Yes, it's a Bible day, but hold your seats, please. And lock the door. Because it has to be useful to me today, and Paul's struggle is very relevant to me. Paul's struggle is very relevant to me. But before I go there, I want to talk what he's going to talk about a little bit, and that is God. God. Because some people hear the word God and go, oh my gosh, double bolt the door. You're going to talk about God, really? But has anybody ever asked you the question, like, what do you believe? Like, do you believe in God? They want to say, do you believe in God? And to me, I think, that's not enough information for me to answer that question. Or, do you believe in Jesus Christ? And you're thinking, whoa, I don't know what you mean by that. Well, exactly. Like, you need more information to be able to answer that question, right? Because really what people are asking you when they ask you that question is, do you believe in the God that I believe in the way I believe about it? And do you believe in the Jesus Christ I believe in and the way I believe about that? And how can you know? There's just not enough information in one question, is there? There's just not enough information. And so in my life, I've decided that I have to really have a good idea of what I mean when I say God. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean when I say I believe in God? Well, here's one thing I believe, is I believe that God is the sole creative power in the universe. Is the sole creative power in the universe. There is only one source with all of life that is, and that is God. That's what I believe. And I believe that this power that is God created me and sustains me. I believe that to the core of my being. And I believe what the youth ed at Unity used to say is there is no spot where God is not. I think that's a great way of thinking about it. Like, God permeates all of creation. There is this universal throb and thrust and vibration, and that is what God is to me. At least that's what it is today. That's my working definition of what that is. So you'll notice that it's not a white bearded man in a gold G robe sitting on a throne somewhere. That's not my idea of God. So if I were to ask you to believe in the God that I described, you could say yes or no, because it would either fit with your idea of what God is or not, right? And so I encourage you to understand what that is for yourself. What is God? And God, I believe, is known by many names in many places over the entire universe and globe. And my name for God, and the name that I have adopted more recently for God, is love itself, That's my name for God. Because y'all know, if you've been here, I've been reading that book, Jesus Speaks, Love Without End, Jesus Speaks, and it's really expanded my consciousness and understanding, and so I'm calling God love itself. Not the intimate love, not the love I have for a person, but the power of love in me. And I'm calling that God, and so I'm calling it love itself. That's my name for God. So I don't know what yours is. It doesn't matter. Now you know something about me. That's my working definition. So when I start to talk about what Paul wrote in his letter to the Romans, because he talks about God, this is what I'm talking about. And he talked about, he wrote this letter to the Romans, to the Roman community. He never visited the Romans, by the way. This was the longest letter he ever wrote, and the last one he wrote before he went to prison. It happens to be the first in the Bible of his letters, only because it is the longest, and they're in the Bible from the longest to the shortest. No great, understanding needs to be had there. But he wrote this letter to the Romans, and he presented a struggle that I think we all deal with, and what I deal with as well. And it starts in Romans 7, and I want to read to you a little bit of what it says from the Message Bible. So here's what he said. This is what really catches me. This is one of my favorite readings in the Bible because I can relate to it so much. He says this: I know that all God's commands are spiritual. Now I could, and I will as often as I can, substitute love itself in here where he says God, because that's my understanding of what God is. I know that all of love's commands are spiritual, but I'm not. Right? I'm not, he says. Isn't that also your experience? Yes, I'm full of myself after all. I've spent a long time making a lot of mistakes. What I don't understand about myself is that I decide one way, but I act another, doing the things I absolutely despise. Have you ever felt that way? Like, oh my gosh, really, Paula? So if I can't be trusted to figure out what is best for myself and then do it, it becomes obvious that love's command is necessary. But I need something more. For if I know the law but I still can't keep it, and if the power of messing up within me keeps sabotaging my best intentions, I obviously need help. I realize that I don't have what it takes. I can will it, but I can't do it. I decide to do good, but I really don't do it. If I decide not to do bad, but I do it anyway. Can you relate? Are you relating? Am I the only one? My decisions, such as they are, don't result in actions. Something has gone wrong within me and gets the better of me every time. It happens so regularly that it's predictable. The moment I decide to do good, something is there to trip me up. I truly delight in love's commands, but it's pretty obvious that not all of me joins in that delight. Parts of me covertly rebel, and just when I least expect it, they take charge. I've tried everything and nothing helps. I'm at the end of my rope. Is there no one who can do anything for me? Isn't that the real question? Isn't that the real question? Like, why? Why did this happen to me? I thought I had it. When I was in recovery with my knee, I shared a lot from this place on Sundays. Like, I had all the tools in my tool belt. I thought I was a minister. Laugh, laugh, laugh. It's right. I couldn't get to the tools. I couldn't use them. And then I'm asking what Paul's asking. What's wrong with me? Why can't I make that happen? That's the question. Why do I do the opposite of what I want and I say that I believe in and that I want to do? Why is that? Here's what I started to think of. If kindness is my religion, why am I unkind? If forgiveness is freedom, why do I hold on so tightly to stuff? If patience is a virtue, why can I not be still and wait? If what other people say and do is out of my control, why do I try to control them? If I know I live in an abundant universe, why do I experience lack and limitation? If I believe in love itself, my God, the way I describe it, why am I suffering? And if I meditate and pray and ground myself in my own sacred heart, why do I choose first thing for the smallest thing and everything goes wrong? That's the question. Well, here's part of the answer. And here's Paul then saying, I struggle with all this, and this is what I think I'm understanding. He says, those who think they can do it on their own end up obsessed with measuring their own moral muscle, but never get around to exercising it. Yikes. You know, I'm good in my meditation chair. I feel really limber and strong, and then I get up. That's what Paul's saying, right? Those who trust in love's action in them find that love is in them, living and breathing in them. Love is in them, love itself, God. But if love itself has taken up residence in your life, you can hardly be thinking more of yourself than of anyone else. Anyone, of course, who hasn't welcomed this invisible but clearly present love, the spirit that is love itself, won't know what we're talking about. But for you who welcome love, in whom love dwells, even though you still experience all the limitations of messing up and not getting it right, you yourself will experience life on love's terms. That. Inviting love in. Inviting God, by whatever name you ascribe to that power that is invisible, that is more powerful than anything in your life. The minute you invite that in, now does it mean everything's going to be roses? No. Let me go to Wendy's song. Here's his, what is his name again?
Bob Bennett.
Bob Bennett. Here's Bob Bennett's definition of God. The hand of kindness holding me. The hand of kindness holding on to me. Walking the wire without a net. The distant light pointing at me. You are reaching out to me. That, living in me, makes all the difference. Like, this is illuminating to me. Is it to you? I don't know. Y'all look very serious. Maybe you're just really hot. I don't know. See, the problem is we try to handle things ourselves and we don't rely on this power that we say we believe in. I encourage you to work on your definition of God, whatever that is, whatever name it is, love, universal mind, whatever it is. Unlimited potential, all sorts of names for that, whatever you know that is. What created you? The name for that. And why we don't rely on that. To depend on that. Here's what Eugene Peterson, who wrote this devotional message Bible, says to help us understand this idea even a little further. Let me read to you what he writes. He says, suppose I decide to build a house. To begin with, I'm quite ignorant of what must be done. So first of all, I take a course in carpentry to learn the fundamentals of house building. And I follow that up with some specialized reading. I get a set of blueprints and buy all the necessary tools. And then I'm ready to build my house. I struggle by myself day after day. As this house grows, I find that there are some things I had either forgotten or never knew. I seem to be all thumbs. The saw doesn't cut straight. The wood splinters. I'm lucky enough to have some neighbors who invariably have suggestions. Hey, That wall seems to be a little out of plumb. Are you sure that's the way to set the windowsill? The more suggestions they make, the more nervous I get. Every time my neighbors show up, I feel like giving up. They're a constant reminder of my failure. One day I explode. I can do without your advice, dang it. But there's a variant on this story. There's a variant on this story. Someone comes by and sees that I'm in trouble with my construction. Without criticizing or giving condescending instruction, he takes off his coat. He rolls up his sleeves and goes to work beside me, sharing his skills and his energy with me. In short order, the building begins to improve, and I feel like I'm doing something again. The presence of a skilled helper doesn't mean that I don't make any more mistakes. Nor does it mean I no longer feel any tension between what the house ought to be and my particular work on it. What it does mean is that I'm transforming my attitude. And that is what Paul's experience was with the coming of the presence of God in his life, with the presence of love itself. That was the feeling of it. Paul, in essence, asks us, who will do something besides increase my sense of failure and condemn me for being such a poor workman? The answer? Love itself. Living in us, working with us, encouraging us. You see, that's the way I think about my God and my definition of God helping me. Beside me, strengthening me, helping me, soothing me, always there, never to criticize, not to fix everything in my life, not to make sure everything's rosy and nothing ever goes wrong again, but to be with me, to have that feeling of somebody rolling up their sleeves and working on their knees beside me. That's the God I want in my life. And this struggle of not getting it right, of wanting to live spiritually, but finding all these roadblocks to it, this is how I overcome that. This is how I overcome that. By allowing the God that I know. You know, if you're in a 12-step group, you know, it's all about the God you know, the God you understand, the God of your understanding. That's what I'm saying to you. It's the God of your understanding. Is that the one that will kneel beside you and roll up his or her sleeves? I want to depend on that. I don't want to depend on my own will. It's failed me over and over and over again. And maybe for good reason. I haven't learned that lesson yet. I haven't learned how to rely on God. I haven't learned how to rely on that power that's greater than me. So this message from Paul, I think, is timeless. His struggle is timeless. Some people who know the Bible much better than I will say, you know that Paul, he wrote about women this way, and he wrote this and that. Listen, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, if there's something in there that I can learn from, I want to see it, and I want to turn it over, and I want to look at all sides of it. I want to pick it up and put it in my pocket and try to understand it and try to let it make me who I want to be. And what I want to be is the best expression of love itself. That's what I want to be. There are many in here who would say, "Oh, I knew Paula when." Like earlier this morning, right? She wasn't her best loving self. But that's who I want to be. And I want to rely on God for that. I want to rely on love itself in me, through me, as me, for that. So I want to thank Paul for bearing his struggle, for showing it to the Romans, for showing it to me. I don't feel so alone. I don't know about you. I feel in the same pot with everybody. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So let's do some meditation here, yeah? Let's take a moment and drop in to ourselves. To take a deep breath and treat ourselves kindly in this. That's another aspect of this. I can wonder what is wrong with me, but really the better question is, how can I be more true to who I want to be? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. There may be a desire to grow. There may be a desire to be more loving, to be more forgiving, to be more accepting, to be more of the expression of love itself. And the strength and the power and the grace and the peace and all of that I need is available to me through the God that breathes me and sustains me and lifts me and is beside me, never gives up on me, who reaches out to me, who carries me, who brings me joy. That power, in this very moment, I am so grateful for. So let's just sit a while in great admiration for the life that we have. Breathing in and breathing out. As we finish our time of stillness this morning, I want to read to you a poem by Penny Harder called Two Meteors. 2 meteors flared last night, flamed above the twilight trees, their arcing signatures dropping so quickly they sputtered out and died. Driving on, I thought that we must burn through whatever sorrows ride our shoulders, or learn to carry them, like that young turtle I saw today, crossing the road before me, bearing his shell. I did not stop to help, only swerved to avoid him, then looked in the rearview mirror, hoping that he was still on his way. And I wrapped a prayer around his fragile back, blessing his stumpy legs, and plodding faith on that slowly darkening road. And so for this time, simply, amen.
The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I'll always be. Father, carry me down to the sea. Mother, carry me, your child I'll always be. Father, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea.
So thank you. I'm ever so grateful that we are building this community together. It feels really incredible. And we made it through without air conditioning. Can you imagine that? I am happy I wore a white shirt because, yeah, a dark shirt would have been difficult to do this in at a time. So I'm grateful for that. So let's pray the way we pray here as we close out here at Spiritual Soul Center. What did I forget? Nothing? Okay. Have a cup of coffee. There's still some coffee back there if you're interested. Yeah, if you want to volunteer in any way, see me afterwards. I'd be happy to talk to you about what we have open for that. And I'll meet with the youth ed people after the service. All right? All right. Deep breath in. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. And so it is. Amen.